So, hi. Today we're gonna continue on our implementation of build server protocol again in C#. And yeah, the to-do is to finish up the target sources function. So let me just quickly some music. I hope it didn't hurt your ears. For me, it was really loud. Okay. Let's start our toolbox. Let's see where we left off. BSP. Here. We will open up the NeoVim plugin repository. Yep. Actually, we need here the BSP Lua in the plugin folder. Okay, the last time we created this test file. Now we can do this test cases. What we want to do here is to list not all the source files that we can test, but actually the test cases that are inside these files. So most of the things should be already in here. we have a possibility here to test files with this target test handler. Let's see again how the request can look like. So we have targets, we have arguments, environment variables, working directory, data kind, data. Me enable the light. Okay. Wondering if I should implement it as a target or as data here. I think it should be target. Actually, I need to test the other implementations in the near future to see how they do it and do it in the same way, so we don't break the expectations of the user. Maybe let's look in some of the implementations. What do we have there? We have the Basel BSP, where we can look. Oh, okay. Was archived. New monorepo. Okay. We're going to send our project into a monorepo structure to follow the Basel way. Okay. What should I do if I was using this repository? Get the reference point to Project Hirschgarten. Check the migration guide. Okay. Good migration guide. Now go support Basel. Not directly for Basel, but support for Go builds using Basel and Basel BSP. Yeah. Okay, it looks like just was moved. Here, what do we have here? Basel plugin, DSP plugin. Oh, the protocol is also in there. So an implementation of build server protocol for Basel. Basel plugin, BSP plugin. The difference. Yeah, it seems it's just the same. They only moved it in one place. Okay, yeah. If that makes more sense for them to have it in one place. Okay, what we want to look at is the build server. The main server. Is this kind of test client or something? Okay, but we have also another repo we can look into. specifically for tests. It's from Uber. Test Explorer, Test Runner. I think this is should be in the Test Explorer then. I already looked into it some time ago. So what it does is actually traverse test item type, parent metadata, root Basel target, source file. How does this work? Document test cases, okay. The document analysis has determined that it is not to be considered a test file, hide it. Test case store, we have here the build client, build server manager. What's parent test here? VS Code test item. And this is the root, then we resolve target. There's resolve target. That resolve targets. Can I search here in the file itself? There was somehow you can open up the command palette, I guess. Feature preview. Oh, this is disabled here. That's why it didn't work. Let's try this out. Come on. Still didn't work. I think it somehow collides with the Chromium bindings or something. Maybe I have to refresh. Ah, I had to refresh. Okay. Yeah, it would be really nice to be able to search inside here. Without jumping through the whole page. Okay. Send request for the build target types. Okay. Build targets. I got them. We would go over them. And check if we can test them. Capabilities can test. And then we would see if this target base directory. If the target has a base directory. It's our protocol here. target. Wait, we go over the targets. How does this even work? Because workspace build target result. Ah, we are on target sources. That's the wrong one. But target. Ah, now I get it. Workspace build target result. It has the targets in it, and this is of type build target. So now I need to build target. Build target. Okay. So they check for a base directory, the directory where this target belongs to. Multiple build targets are allowed to map to the same base directory, and the build target is not required to have a base directory. A base directory does not determine the sources of a target. See build target sources. Okay, so let's just check if this build base directory is there. So then they add a segment test item. Okay. Kind of build up the tree, I think. Okay, and then we have built file URI. Build file name. Okay. They concatenate them. Then URI. New IVAL group runs that have the same ID. Create build target test item target build. So then they make up one test. So capabilities, we can look if it's testable. Creates a test item for build target. Build target corresponding to the test URI of the test item. The newly created test item. Okay. Target display name. The test one. Build target test case info. New test. Can resolve children. Okay, so we don't have only those two. Yes, does it have something to do how VS Code handles the stuff and how the tests are defined in VS Code? I guess so. It's a test item for a source file. This is for target, so it's a higher level. Would be on for us it would be CS project level. And then you would do the same for the source files. And then we would need to do that for the test cases. in the resolver. And let's look again from the top. Here we go. Resolve handler. Oh, a little bit lost. The test item factory of segment. Test case, test item. Yeah, that's the one I'm searching for. So if we try to resolve the document test cases, convert document contents into generic document test item data. It jumps so crazy around here. Click something. If document analysis has determined that it is not to be considered a test file, hide it. Get language tools. Test info target. Get document test cases. Language tool manager. Do I see it right? They resolve it not on the server side, on the client side. So maybe I'm mistaken, but looks like they resolve the source files. But then they looking into it with this language tools. parse out the test cases out of it. Create source file test item. So request source items for target and populate within the tree. Okay, this is the part where the source files are resolved from the server. Then we go over them, for each item, for each source, parent to which the source file's test item will be added. If the source file is in a subdirectory, the parent will be updated based on the path. If the current source is not in the target space directory, source is not in the target space directory, create path segments. Okay. But at the end, we'll create a source file test item, add it there. Fine. Kick off test case resolution within each of the target's documents. So that's the interesting part now. For all of them, we say resolve document test cases. Assign a watcher to each source file's test item to handle test case changes in the file. Okay. We have to track the file changes. Yeah. And now how do they resolve the test cases? If document analysis has determined that it is not to be considered a test file, hide it. They go over the documents. Let me just check if they also do this checks in the resolve the source files. Because the thing I'm thinking currently is if you do this target sources request, then you get all the source files. This doesn't mean necessarily that every source file is a test file. For this specific scenario, we need only the source files that are considered a test source file. So it looks to me now that they go over all of them, regardless if it's a test source file or not. And then they try to determine if there are test cases inside the source file. And if there are none, then they drop this source file from the tree, because they then don't consider it a test file. If this makes sense. Okay, then can clean up it. And it does not have any test cases in it. Also interesting thing is here that they do the watching of the files on the client side. So let me put the chat also in there. Hi, Sally. How is your experience, the C# LSP in NeoVim? I ended up switching off it a while back, but I don't know how things have developed since then. I heard something about the new Roslyn LSP. Yeah. Actually, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I'm using the OmniSharp LSP server for a while now, and it has some rough edges, I would say. I'm also excited to try the new Roslyn LSP out, but I didn't done it yet. But I saw there is an pull request open for Mason registry, where they tried to add this one, so you can install it locally. This one. Yeah, they use some kind of workaround because the Roslyn language server is not available as a NuGet package. So they use some GitHub repository to work around this and to be able to download the binaries somehow. Yeah, when it's prepared so that you can easily download it, I will also try it out. And yeah, you can stay tuned, and maybe I will stream about it one day. So when you're using NeoVim for .NET development, I would really appreciate if you have some time that you test out the build server and also the BSP NVim plugin. It's currently like alpha, but I hope really it brings a little bit more developer experience into NeoVim and C# development. So NeoVim and .NET together. I use it sometimes in my daily work, like to build the solution or build specific CS projects in a solution. It works quite well, but I'm waiting for more feedback from others, because currently it works only like for my environment. I'm keen to see where the rough edges are and fix them. Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you. And don't hesitate to open bugs or items. Even if it's just a question, it's fine. You can see also what currently should work. That's the wrong one. Here we have like .NET Clean, like this would be the clean request. Then the test run request should be working, and compile, like .NET build. Yeah, you can do for any of this bindings, but yeah, you will find a description in the repository basically for the BSP. It's not fully random. If you like, you can guess what it should mean. It is related to my Twitch name, or to be precise, my Twitch name is related to my GitHub name. You got it. Nice. And this should be something like my home, my space, like a folder, ak/. Language tools is used to define behavior that should differ based on language. The language tool manager will be used throughout the extension to select the right set of language tools given the conditions. Let's say the Python language tools. How are they implemented? Oh, okay, it's not like it's not like it's implementing the stuff client side, but they like the BSP protocol have some things that are like language related. So the requests and responses differ depending on the language. So they have this language tools where they do this distinction and like abstract away how they handle the same thing for different languages, I guess. Still would be nice if we could hide this in the server on the server side, I think. Because having that much on the client side where you have to differentiate between the languages seems like yeah, not like the protocol is not generic enough. So let's read this. Maps test finish data into a unique identifier for each test case. For Python, this will consist of the fully qualified path to the test case. Test finish data to lookup key. Test finish data, individual test finish data reported by build server. Yeah, this is the case that we wanted to look into. Identification of Python test cases. Document URI of the document to be analyzed for test cases. Okay, and how do they analyze it? Path base name. Okay, exclude files that do not match Python convention of tests. And if they ask this, generate a prefix to be used for the lookup key. Converts file path after the repo root to a Python module path. Okay. file name to be included in the test filter. Okay, that's like the file stuff, but what's with the test cases inside of the test file? It's Pylons. Not that experienced with Python. Feature-rich language support for Python. So okay, they do like there's analyzing of the files on the client side. Yes, Sally, thanks for stopping by. And yeah, I will see you in the next stream. Have a nice day. Oh, or have a nice night, I guess. Okay, yeah, that's how they do it. It's on the client side then here, and they use the language server somehow to determine the information about the code. Like when we would do the same for NeoVim, it would mean we would use on the NeoVim side treesitter to pass the grammar and to pick like the symbols and to try to determine which functions are test functions, and then construct like from this information the actual test cases. But I don't actually I don't like this approach, to be honest. I would rather like the build server to do this. Yeah, maybe it makes sense because the build server should be more often abstraction of build tooling, and this is not related to a build directly. So it's different. That's why I think they do it on the client side using the language server. This would basically mean for me, I am done with this endpoint then. And I would rather use something like test, neo test to do the rest. We have neotest.net here. Kind of this would be one thing that I could look into to combine neotest and the specific extension of it to play nice with the dub server. The thing here is also that .NET has already the abstraction to abstract away how you can discover tests. There is the thing that is called test runner. No, actually called PS test. Yeah, I think this was the... And they have this architecture test discovery protocol. This is pretty nice concept where you have adapters and runners, and you can connect to the specific adapter and then you can get information about the test cases. So I'm not sure how it exactly works in all the details, but you have this abstraction that you can just say, okay, you have something that you can ask for different kind of things that are test related, like give me all the test cases and give me a like the test discovery, and you don't have to know how to find the test in the test file. I already used this, and I thought like the other implementation do the same thing, so that the BSP server actually discovers the test cases. But it looks like it's not the case here. So let's see where have I them. I have the test handler, and we have this. Yes. We have here some of this discovery. Yeah, this is the part you have like where was this? Yeah, first you have to locate the test runner. Then you have to locate the adapter. Like for us, it would be like this VS test console runner. I don't know why it's called VS something. It's actually not that VS Code related. Or Visual Studio related, but I think it's legacy or something. Yeah, if you have the runner and you have the adapter, you can use both to actually find the test cases. And I thought this is a really nice concept. Actually, I also don't know why they didn't create a kind of TSP or something like test server protocol or something like that. But it's basically pretty yeah, it's nearly the same concept like LSP, just a different protocol and maybe different messages that they communicate. Maybe this evolves some time in the future to something like TSP or something like that. How old is this concept? 2 years. For Visual Studio ID, this is a Project K adapter. Yeah. So what should we do then after this discovery? We have this build target tests where we could not pass individual test cases. Or should we just implement something that's not in the spec? Because, I mean, the specification is not that precise or what's the sources are. Let's see the target sources. Just target source request is sent from the client to the server to query for the list of text documents and directories that are belonging to a build target. The sources respawn must not include sources that are external to the workspace. Okay, they are more precise. This is like documents and directories. Do we have here dependency sources, dependency modules, target resources? The build target resource request is sent from the client to the server to query for the list of resources for a given list of build targets. A resource is a data dependency required to be present in the runtime class path when a build target is run or executed. Okay, this are kind of like DLLs on NuGet packages that we need, I think. What do we else have here? Dependency sources. What's that? The build target dependency sources request is sent from the client to the server to query for the sources of build target dependencies that are external to the workspace. Okay. This would be the NuGet packages then. Or dependency sources response must not include source files that belong to a build target within the workspace. See build target sources. The server communicates during the initialize handshake whether this method is supported or not. Method can example used by a language server on text document definition to go to definition from the project source to a dependency source. Oh, okay. So this would be something that currently the OmniShub server implements on his own. Like if you want to jump to something that's in a NuGet package and it tries to decompile the stuff that's inside the NuGet package and then shows it up. And I think this would be then the abstraction for this kind of thing. Those are dependency modules. The build target dependency module's request is sent from the client to the server to query for the libraries of build target dependencies. Or the libraries of build target dependencies that are external to the workspace, including metadata information about the library and their sources. It's an extended version of build target sources. Extended version. To query for libraries of build target dependencies that are external to the workspace. Okay. So this is like to have the information about the NuGet packages. And this one would be the information about the sources that are inside of the NuGet packages, I think. So there is then no possibility to ask the build server to get the information about the specific test cases. Let's see if we find some information in the repository, maybe. What is a target really? Let's look at this one. I think that's it. Is there something like test case? Just get all of them. Dealing with breaking changes, version numbers, dependency sources with replace libraries. Thank you for opening this issue. I also think that the dependencies libraries request could be more structured and compact. But I have a few remarks concerning the current proposal. Language agnosticity. We can't use jars and jars for non-GM languages. So in the end, we really need an abstract dependency data that would contain language-specific information jars and source jars for GVM modules, for JS crates for Rust, etc. Conflict resolution. As far as I know, I don't think that Bazel does conflict resolution, but most GVM build tools do. Does conflict resolution. Suppose I have target A and target B that depends on A. A depending on lib. Okay, does not imply that B transitively depend on lib. Because of the conflict resolution, it could depend on. Okay. 0, 0, 1, 1, 0. Workspace versus build target. Having build target request is more flexible because the client can decide to import some build targets and not all of them. The build target result item don't necessarily need to be independent. For instance, we could have the build target result items don't necessarily need to be independent. For instance, we could have build target dependency result items, all dependencies, build target dependency item, all the resolved dependencies and transitive dependencies because of conflict resolution. Dependency. Jar and source jars. Yeah, basically the log file. Kind of an abstract way to be able to represent log file information. Let's see if we have something where we can look at here. I just don't think I have it here. But we can for sure enable it. How was this called? Yes, project. This is it. Restore package with log file. True. And now if you build the solution, it should create a log file for us. Yeah. So basically this is what they mean, dependencies. And then you have all the dependencies, also the transitive one. And you will be able to show them with this kind of structure. Yeah, it would make sense, I think. Then you can also show it like in a tree or something, where like in Visual Studio or other IDEs where you can click over the dependencies and see how they relate to each other. Okay. Fine, but not what we are searching for initially. Build target is a combined project plus config example. Build target contains metadata about an artifact, for example, library test or binary artifact. What if you have multiple main class binary artifacts runnable targets inside a single SBT project? Shouldn't you be able to run each one separately? In Cargo Rust's default build tool, my students are implementing BSP support for it. There is a notion of target configuration, namely features too, but we decided that instead of each configuration of a project being a separate target, we map cargo targets to BSP targets. And keep the configuration as a state context of the server. So it aligns more closely with Bazel than with SBT. I think we should specify more clearly what target is so that the users have better intuition about it. The Bazel cargo definition of a binary target would be: a binary target is the smallest unit within a project that can be run individually and produced standard standard error. What what is a single test target would depend on a testing framework and language, but we could specify that when a test target is run, it must produce a clear indication whether it succeeded or failed. The granularity and type unit integration end-to-end of the test depends on the testing framework. A test target can map, for example, to a single unit test or all unit tests in a given file. For example, in the Java class. Interesting question. I think some of it also comes from a bit of familiarity with the tool. When thinking of build targets, the targets that SBT produces currently actually do make sense in the context of SBT. It's funny, this sort of relates to a conversation that we had at the center today about custom configurations, which can also produce targets. If I was to greatly simplify what I think a target means, I'd be something, at least in the Scala world, that has a unique class path. So in the case of cross-build Scala 3 and Scala 2 GVM Scala JS project, the 8 actually makes sense, as each of those will have a unique class path for both compile and test. There's definitely some term overloading going on in SBT with here, so I think that's also adding some confusion. I don't fully get this part, I guess. When I think of a target, I think of any test in that target that can be run with the same class path. Yeah, you can do this metals by passing the class name inside of data. Shouldn't you be able to run each one separately? What's this one? When I think of a target, I think of a single class in GVM world. A single target can have multiple main classes, but they'd again be run created with same class path since they're in the same target. Each main class would be a separate target within a single project. Each main class would be a separate target within a single project. Okay. I don't like. We do this with metals by passing in the class name inside of that. And I don't like it because I think that's happening at the wrong level of abstraction again. And my build server should be forced to present each main class as a separate runnable target. Otherwise, build clients will need to handle this special Scala specific data kind just to be able to run different binaries. Okay. Too much discussion. Because Basel, we have to define each main class test class as a separate Basel and BSP target. Well, it's almost always true, but not always. For example, just rules with test discovery mechanism. Oh, I already follow this one. Looks I already read this some time ago. Project as set of targets with shared configuration. It would rather keep the build target as a biggest notion and add a sub notion of run target. A build contains many build targets. Each build target contains many run targets. Would rather keep the build target as a biggest notion and add a sub notion of run target. Yes, and it is also a question of consistency. If we have notion of build target, BSP2 and BSP3, they should mean the same thing. If we add the notion of project, then all that is a build target in the current implementations of SPDS, and the IntelliJ Scala plugin would become project and build target would appear somewhere else in the implementation. It would make the migration hard and confuse people. To mean by config context, potentially SPD Cradle targets can be different sources. Does it mean that the big target project will contain all the sources, or it's not the part of the config context? Okay. All these discussions are somehow old. That's even older. Instead of a single BSP server should be using by multiple SPE servers But to my understanding, there is no such mechanism anywhere implemented or specified. I think there are some missing pieces in our architecture. This would be my approach as well, but a BSP server may need to be designed to allow multiple connections. Aside from that, where do you see specification gaps? There are probably no real specification gaps. It's all about implementations from here on. I think what's needed is a RFC, a request for adoption, or some architecture proposal how BSP, LSP, and IDEs should be used together. It needs to be pushed into existing projects. I agree on that. It depends whether you want the language server to reuse a single instance of the build server. This would be useful if the build server stores a lot of cached state, for example. For Mill, it would be okay to start a new instance of the build server when needed. This works right now. Also, we will add some more safeguarding target locking once this is a typical use case. We keep most state on disk. Only speed might be an issue due to hot versus cold GVM specifics. But we can then work out once it becomes a bottleneck. That's essential to me. What's essential to me is that the server itself is based on the same build tool and does the same meta model and setup. But if it's okay, for some reasons, for LSP servers or IDs easier to always talk to the same server, I'm sure we can build some generic multi-client server that can manage multiple instances of BSP servers that don't support multi-clients. Yeah, sounds fair. And they are also subscribed. Let's see if Mill have something maybe more specific. Will they implement this? Okay. I am evaluating a VS Code client for BSP, and I want to ask for clarification of the status of BSP, which calls out that the build protocol is not an approved standard. As there are already various clients and server implementations in progress, and there seem to be regular versioned releases, it Is this still the case? What is your criteria for getting to the point at which BSP will be considered approved standard, and by who? Good point. I don't think we need the blessing of any particular standard authority, so I'm fine with removing that wording. Yeah, that's fair. But it seems no one removed it yet, so it's still not approved. Hi, very dumb dev. Are you looking for the BSP server implementation? Yeah, I'm looking to compare the implementations to find out how I should implement stuff. Actually, currently I'm looking into the part of this build target sources. I already implemented how you can ask like for the sources and send build targets. In case of .NET, it's like you send a build target identifier for CS project, and you got the documents like the .cs files as a result of that. So you know for a specific CS project you have this source files that are compiled at the end. But what I also was looking for is how you can determine if for a specific CS file, like it's one of the CS files is a test source file, and how you can ask the server to provide you a specific test cases that are inside of this source file. And it looks like this is not in the responsibility of the build server. Are you somehow related to any of these projects? It would be really nice to talk or to chat with someone who did one of these implementations for any of the servers that are available on the site or mentioned on the site. Okay. Yeah, I got a link also to the bloop from one of the people from the project, from BSP project, I think. Ah, cool. So let's maybe let's be in touch. Are you on the Discord of the BSP server? So maybe we can have a chat there. For me, like I saw how the Unity, nicht Unity, Uber people implemented it, like the test handling in VS Code Bazel BSP. And what they do, if I understood that correctly, when they get the source information from this build target sources request. They look in each file and using the LSP server try to find the test cases that are inside of the source files, and so to determine the different test cases. And for me, while it's well, I could do the same maybe with TreeSitter on NeoVim side, but I would rather like to somehow abstract it away so I don't necessarily need to parse the source files on the client side to determine this kind of thing. Okay, I will do this. Yeah, like on the .NET side, there is already an abstraction for that. I said it before. There is this test runner stuff. Let me just open this up. Was this? They have a like test discovery protocol and runner and adapter, which you use to determine the different test cases. So you then don't have to implement for this different test frameworks how you parse the test cases and stuff. You can just ask the runner and the adapter for the specific framework or test framework, and it gives you the test cases. So it would be really easy to implement this on the server side, but because the build server is not designed for that, I think it would be, yeah, maybe a bad idea to do it. How does Bloop this? Or does it like, does it parse some test cases, or is it just really only on the source file level if you wanna run a test? Okay. But maybe we can find it out together. Because I'm not that familiar with Java and Scala. Maybe another question. Do you use NeoVim? Because I have also the plugin for NeoVim for BSP, and currently I'm only using it with .NET BSP server, but I really want to test it also with the other implementations. And this one. And I also already created, let me find this Mason repository fork for the BSP server, for the BSP servers. How can I find packages? Yeah, I have the .NET BSP. I have Cargo BSP added. I have let me see. Gradle BSP, .NET BSP, and Cargo BSP added, but not Scala currently. Like, what would it be? Bloop? So if you use NeoVim, I could add this also, like the Bloop, and we could test it out if you like. I tried once to run the Basel BSP server, and yeah, it did not work that well currently, because I think I have to define this origin IDs. Yeah. Okay. Interpreter. If here. Discover test frameworks. So for specific framework, it does, but it does this on the server side. So I like this part. So yeah, I do understand this. This is not easy to get into a big code base. I struggled a lot when I searched for different kind of things in the .NET frameworks or SDKs. Even if it's written okay-ish, it's just hard to get it in the brain if this is so much information. Okay. Let me see. For me, it's especially hard because I don't know Scala. Test internals get fingerprint. Okay, test internals, potential tests, definitions, discovery for each discovered test. Okay, so potential tests. Test server. But it looks like implement a protocol that the forked remote GM talks with the host process. This protocol is not formal and has been implemented after SBT fork tests. It's looked like they have something similar that .NET has. So that you can ask for some class or framework that abstracts away how tests are discovered. Let's maybe search for it. Loop BSP services. Test names with color test classes item. But this one looks like on a class level. Project for which to find tests. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I already have this implemented. Let's see if we have, say I have only here some tests. But basically what I can say here, I added this for test purposes. So BSP list test cases. No, less BSP test test file. And then I can say this is basically build target. And I would say I wanna have the test files that are inside of this build target. So, and I got them here. What I did not done here is to filter out only the test sources. But I could do this. This should be simple. So, and then if I select one of them, I can actually run tests for the whole class. And so this test is okay, and if I run one of the tests, test file, that should fail, like failing tests here. Then I got also the errors here displayed, and I can jump to the code locations where the errors happened. So I'm not that far away from from actually what the other build server do. I just thought somehow that I could yeah, list also the test cases, because I have this .neotest plugin, and what it does here is actually when I say no test found. Okay, or it does not work. Yeah. Now it worked. It didn't work somehow, but usually it shows here the different test cases that are available, and you can just run the specific test case. And my idea would be to provide an adapter like this neotest-net, but specific for BSP, so that I don't have to write for each language a specific adapter, but be able to just plug in any BSP server and like show the tests here with the test cases, depending on what the build server provides you. But it looks like it is not possible on the test case level, only on a class level, which may be fine for the beginning. Yeah. test names for framework. Oh, there is a specific request for Scala test classes. So this is a specific request. I saw that there are some specific ones, like specific extensions here. This should be one of them. Build target Scala test classes request. Yeah, maybe I should ask on the build server protocol repository in the discussions if this is something they want to add. Or maybe they don't want to add it because it's they think that this is not the responsibility of the build server. But I mean, if it provides already the test classes. Okay, yeah, I see. The only thing I don't like about this is that they are like language specific. Like, why don't they created something like more generic where I just could use the same request to get the class or test class information for .NET? Would be nice. Because now I would need to create a specific request for .NET. Yeah. There are quite some of extensions for the specific build tools and languages. Yeah, I also think that there is a reason for that. I don't think they just missed this one or something. But for me, it would also mean if I want to create something like NeoTest BSP adapter, I would need to support this different kind of extensions for each language if they have separate extensions for test stuff. Let's see. Yeah, they have something here for tests. Rust target kind test. Okay. Yeah, at least it gets more generic. Yeah, I think also like the people behind BSP try to find a way to generalize the stuff over time when they know more about the different cases that needs to be handled by the BSP protocol. I mean, this is a hard problem here because it's that much of variation between the languages and stuff. This is not an easy task. Mm-hmm. And even then, there are many platforms. So, but yeah. What to describe? What do they write here? Gem test environment request is sent from the client to the server in order to gather information required to launch a Java process. This is useful when the client wants to control the Java process execution. For example, to enable custom Java agents or launch a custom main class during unit testing or debugging. Okay. Build target JVM test environment. The data provided by this endpoint may change between compilations, so it should not be cached in any form. The client should ask for it right before test execution after all the targets are compiled. Build target JVM run environment request. Build target data kind Java Java version. My problem that I don't know Java and I don't know these different concepts, so it's hard for me to understand why they need this. I mean, I'm sure they need this, and I'm sure there's a good reason for that. It's just I don't understand it because I didn't had to. I didn't had these issues for what they designed, like this different requests. So I don't understand the problem. And so it's sometimes hard to match it on the .NET side if I don't know like Java. Yeah, I also think this is like a specific one, and at least here I know what the problem is because I mean I tried to implement the same stuff on for .NET. So this is what you meant before. It's stated that it is deprecated. Oh. Attach a run test suite button above the definition of a test suite via CodeLens. So this one. Main class. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's actually the Bazel BSP. Yeah, I already looked into this one. The nice thing about this one is that it supports multiple languages, which is nice. But I personally think Bazel is kind of complicated. At least for me. Yeah. It was called Bazel BSP before. They moved it into a single repository. Oh, so it supports remote caching. Is this like one of the main reasons why people use Bazel? Bazel? I don't know how to pronounce it. Okay. Yeah, good to know. I didn't know that. So okay, it's good for really like big projects. And you can fetch from the remote cache to local dev as well. Yeah, that makes a lot of more sense to me now. Yeah, thank you. The cool thing about Bazel is that it supports different languages, and there is also .NET support there. So if I can get Bazel BSP running with NeoVim, it could be used at least by others who use Bazel to develop in NeoVim for these languages. I never used Bazel, so I mostly will not use it because I don't have currently this kind of big projects where I could use it. But still, if others can use it, it would be nice. This is also very interesting use of BSP, which you can use to make your LSP only need to import the one module you work with. You may have many projects, so there is some built-in convenience to select groups of projects. Whenever you give a project names to bleep command, for instance, bleep compile publish local, you can provide cross ID instead. This will select a group of cross projects with that cross ID. If you have worked with a cross build project, you will have seen names like my project at GVM 213. The cross ID is the part after that sign. Note that any transitive dependencies will also be selected. These groups are discoverable because they also appear in tab completions. Understand why projects are chosen. You can pass the group names to the project to see which projects are implied by a group. Is this kind of modules, or is it treated like modules? Because there I saw in the specification there is this kind of target dependency modules request, which is for libraries of build target dependencies that are external to the workspace. Okay. Selecting projects. But okay, this is something like you have a workspace where you have multiple projects and you can select which project you want to build. This is a strange video. Like the format is strange. Can I do it? Let's see it again. I don't get it. Yeah, you must understand that in my brain, I try to map it to .NET stuff because I'm most familiar with that. And I can't find like the right things where I can map it to, so. It looks a little bit like different repositories or something like that. Or different projects. Makes the ID treat them as different projects. Okay. Okay. So you kind of define the scope for a different target, and it can and the target can be of like multiple projects, but you have a specific target that kind of narrow downs your compile sources. Now I get it. Okay, okay. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. If your LSP server uses the BSP behind the scenes, and you can say to your BSP server, you only have to care about those sources, and this is your build target, then the LSP is communicating over the BSP protocol with the server and gets only the information that the BSP server provides. So it has, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And Bleep is really a BSP implementation for Mill or something. And Mill is an LSP for Scala. Metals is the LSP, okay. Mill is the BSP client for Bloop, okay. Okay, Mill is a build tool that uses a Bloop as a via BSP. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Blip and mill are not related. Okay. So maybe I have to set up a Scala environment just to be able to experience this firsthand. I sent you the friends request in Discord. So unfortunately I have to leave now. But let's raid someone, even if I have not that many viewers, but yeah. But thank you for joining, and it was really delightful for me because now I understand more of this stuff and how it's related in Scala. Many thanks for that, and I hope you will join from time to time if you have time. And yeah, let's see. We search for no one online from now I have someone. See you. Bye.